News. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our virtual Let's Talk Vero candidates discussion. My name is Vero O'Hare, and we're joined this evening by incumbents Linda Moore and John Carroll, alongside former council member Brian Heddy and newcomer Aaron Voss. We will begin our evening by giving each candidate an opportunity to introduce themselves, share their why, present their positions on their top 3 priorities for the city, and share their thoughts on housing, growth and development, downtown revitalization, and more. We also know people are eager to understand how you feel about the proposed 15-foot height limit request for the developer that's looking at the mall. Tonight, we will begin with Brian Heddy, followed by John Carroll, Aaron Voss, and we're going to finish up with Linda Moore. Ken Daig informed us yesterday that he could not be with us tonight. After we hear from our candidates, we will open up to Q&A for questions that we've received in advance and give all of you an opportunity to ask questions as well. Please use the raise hand button or type your question into the chat. Before we begin, a couple of housekeeping items. First and foremost, Let's Talk Vero is not aligned with the city of Vero Beach. Let's Talk Vero is committed to educating, enlightening, and engaging the community on growth, development, and related matters, such as Three Corners, the downtown revitalization efforts, the housing shortage, etc. If you're new tonight to Let's Talk Vero, be sure to sign up for updates so you can receive invitations to our monthly gatherings at Riverside Theater. Please feel welcome to sign up at www.letstalkvero.com. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit about sunshine laws. Chapter 286 of the Florida statutes dictates that 2 or more members of the same council, in our case, Linda and John, must not discuss matters that may come before them in their official capacity outside of a properly noticed meeting. We're just letting you know that they will exercise their judgment on whether they can or cannot answer any questions that may arise. Same with the downtown referendums on the ballot. Last but not least, before we get started, let's remind ourselves that when voters elect city council members, they're voting them to act on their representatives to make difficult decisions on behalf of the community, also known as representative democracy, where we give our elected officials authority to make informed decisions, often on complex issues after consulting with experts, gathering community input, and assessing the broader impact of the city's future, and may not always be popular, but are seen to be in the best interest in the long run. For those who do not like the decisions, our council members are accountable to the public through regular elections where voters exercise their power to elect new representatives. Tonight, we're pleased to do our small part in facilitating engagement and dialogue so our community can get to know you better as they prepare to cast their votes. Again, we'd like to thank Linda and John for their ongoing leadership, and also Aaron and Brian for seeking to serve. So let's get started. Brian, hope you're doing well tonight. We'd like to start with your why you're seeking to run, your 3 key initiatives, and thoughts on growth, development downtown, etc. And thanks again for joining us.
Oh, thank you. And basically, a one-issue candidate. I think the public ought to be allowed to speak at public meetings to which the public's invited to speak publicly. And we have a current mayor that uses the police to take people into custody that dare to say things that he doesn't like. That's outrageous on every level. And if we are going to meet the public's demand to be servants, the first thing we have to do is close our mouth and open our ears And we've got a mayor that doesn't understand that. And we've got a council member that, council members that allow him to shut up even council members.
Do you have any other thoughts about some of the other topics that are near and dear to your prospective constituents?
Stop the incredible waste of tax dollars. I mean, they do it constantly. They're going to study everything 18 different times. Things that have been studied for years. Oh, I've been kicking around here for over 30 years. We've looked at a lot of these issues a lot of times. And, you know, council members get elected because they've got some great idea on how to improve downtown. I'll tell you what, I've lived here 30 years. I've loved this town for 30 years. I don't need to do a whole lot of improvement on it. And if a developer wants to come in and do some improvement, let the developer do their improvement. It's their money. Let it be their design, not some council member's design.
What did you think about the proposed plan that was prepared by outside planners
For what now?
for downtown Vero? You know, the city had hired.
I love downtown Vero. I don't know why they continue to want to spend tax dollars to change it. I don't get it. Leave downtown alone. It's nice.
So I appreciate your comments, Brian. So if you don't wish to add anything else, then what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and go on to our next participant tonight, John Carroll. Hi, John. How are you tonight?
I'm great.
Thank you so much for joining us. So John, if I may ask you the same question I had asked Brian a little earlier, your why you wish to be reelected, your 3 key initiatives, and your thoughts on growth, downtown development, etc.
All right. Well, I think it's important to give a little reason why I'm sitting here today talking on this Zoom call. During the last 48 hours of August of 2022, of the qualifying period, I reviewed the council minutes and I was surprised to really realize how little progress had been made on the Three Corners project since the sale to FP&L closed in December of 2018. So I delved deeper into it, read the minutes going back a couple of years, and realized that there was really no foresight or any plan. The leaders that we had at that time were just, shuffling papers back and forth. And so with my background in engineering and construction and development, I felt that I needed to lend a voice to that effort. And that's why I decided to put my hat in the ring. And, I was fortunate enough to be elected by the public and serve these last 2 years. And I've been, really humbled by the experience. People think I'm a know-it-all, and sometimes I come off that way.
Sounds like Linda agrees.
But I try not to be. I really do. But when you've been doing something for so long, it's just you believe that everybody knows as much as you do in a lot of instances, especially when it comes to engineering, construction, and development. So I've been trying to work through that over the last 19 months, and I think I'm getting better, right, Linda?
Absolutely.
Okay. But this council has worked well together. We've done a lot of great things. There's been some criticism of moving forward on so many initiatives in such a short amount of time. And the reason that you have to do that is because this community has voted down expanding the length of the terms. It's been on the referendums have put forth since, I think, since 2000 for sure. of going to 3-year or 4-year terms, and it's been voted down substantially by the voters. 3 to
And I was
1.
wondering-
So that's a problem. So you only have 2 years to do what you need to do or what you want to do in this job. And, I had a long laundry list of things that I thought the community needed to address. And that's why I brought those forward. And council has, been kind enough to listen to those. And we've had extensive special meetings, special council meetings, special set meetings where we've had public input. We've gone through these processes and a lot of good has come out of it. We've got, this downtown referendums, we've got the golf cart ordinance pass, we've got the bicycle and walkway initiative passed. We've got
John, John, I'm going to be a Budzinski. I'm going to hop in because the time meter is running. I'd love to get your feedback, or could you share briefly your position on downtown revitalization?
Okay, the downtown master plan is a culmination of extensive community input over the last 18 months. Jason Jeffries did a very smart thing. He hired 3 excellent outside consultants, and we did an analysis of the past plans, the ability to the marketing plan, and also the ultimate development plan, which is the next generational plan of live, work, play downtown with multiple housing income levels, new mixed-use development with retail on the first floor and multiple residential units on the second, third, and maybe a 4th floor, depending on the heights of the interior ceilings. And it would be great to have a boutique hotel downtown as well to bring visitors down there so that people could, basically stay downtown. The planning and zoning today just approved a zoning conversion for bed and breakfast in the Arts Village, first one. So hopefully that's something that's going to come down the pike. So we need everybody to get behind these referendums that are on the ballot in the November 5th election.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, John. Next, I'd like to introduce everybody to Aaron Voss, who is running as, Aaron, may I call you a new candidate? Because we do know the other 3 in our community. So we thank you for being brave enough to run.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Yeah.
Same question to you.
Right.
We'd love to know why you've decided to go ahead and run for city council, what your favorite 3 key initiatives are, and what your thoughts are on growth and development downtown.
Right. First of all, thank you, Let's Talk Vero, for giving me this opportunity to present myself to the audience here. I really appreciate that. And everyone on this call, thank you for calling in because it shows you have interest in our community. That's good. That's one thing I love about Vero. Being a new person on the block, first time candidate, I'm meeting so many people and it's fantastic. It shows that this is the little hometown I adopted and I love. So a little bit about me. I arrived in Vero Beach. It'll be 6 years this March. And it took me 3 years of studying both coasts of Florida. My wife wanted to come back to the East Coast. It's a promise for her. And Vero fit our bill. The small town feel that we wanted, the traffic issues, not like we see down south. It was just a fantastic place. We decided this was it, nowhere else we need to go. So part of my career, why I got here and why I'm running is I have a background in engineering. I ran a factory and I ran a very large program, multiple large programs, gives me the skill set that I need to help run the city. So the foundation is there for attention to detail, for the strategy, looking forward to what is going to impact you in the future. So scheduling, looking at mitigation plans, it's all there. That's all what you need to help run a city. So right now I'm an independent contractor. I did retire about 7 years ago, and the company immediately brought me back to do things just like we're doing here, is troubleshoot and try to figure out how to do things the best way possible. And the key things would be the three corners. The issue there with the down select of the contractor to start billing it. I know that there was a little bit of issues there. When Tracy Zudan stepped out, I felt this is where I can step in and help. I'm not here. I don't have an agenda to come in and try to train wreck anything. My idea is I'm going to come in and help with this current city council. I'd love to work with John, Linda, John Coutinho, and Taylor Dingo. That is my objective. And that's the reason why I'm running. It's the passion there to help, not to mix up and mess things up. Okay. The big projects, like I mentioned, Three Corners and the sewer relocation, that's where I think I can really help with what's going on with the city. I know Rob Bolton has a big task in front of him. He's already started the process. What I've seen so far, it looks like they have a good plan forward. We're seeing there is growth, there's pressure on the cost, and of course schedule. Again, I think I can help with some of the critical decisions with my background. The other part of what I'm interested in helping with is the financial stability of the city. And this goes along with what we're trying to do with the historical downtown as well. So in my programs, I treat the budget as my own pocketbook. And when I fund things for contingencies, or we call management reserve, the individuals or the groups that need that money, they have to prove to me they need it. It's there. You get it if you prove it. So frugality in management with the budget is key for me. And there's things I look at. There's the must-haves, there's the nice-to-haves. And the must-haves can be things that don't impact, or say, that don't have a return on investment for a monetary reason. They're the social investment. So I know there was a discussion about the pool, shutting it down. There are people out there who don't have pools. They understand that they have a need. Not everyone has the pool to enjoy. So it's there for the community. That's a must-have. I know this current council talked about the refurbishment of Hummiston Park Boardwalk, the walkway. That's the right choice to put in something that is durable to against the storms. And then in the future, we could look at putting riprap in there, get the Armored Corps engineers to put something more permanent. So right now, put it where it's usable. If you go down to the park right now, you cannot use the boardwalk. It's been that way for almost a year. So what's the sense of building something up that's just going to be torn down? Let's get a permanent solution there and get the county to help us engage with that solution, as well as possibly grants or something that from the federal government to get that put into place, including the boardwalk. So the other part is, of course, the Indian River Lagoon. I can't forget that. That is a critical resource for our community. Understanding that that we prioritize the septic and water, septic to sewer conversions ahead of what we're required to. Again, I applaud the city council, the current city council, that put this together to get ahead of the curve on that one. Fantastic. The last thing we talked about, the historical downtown improvements, revitalization. I know, Brian, you said leave it alone. It's great, but there's things we could do to make it a little bit nicer. Part of this is that we do not have affordable housing in the city of Vero Beach. We're built out. This is one way we could do it. You get the density where you can get the affordable housing in place. So the workers from the hospital, from Piper, other surrounding businesses, they could work, live, and play. You keep your tax dollars in the city. You also, with you get the community, you get less traffic, potentially less traffic, because you're staying there, it's walkable. So this I want to call it an experiment. I would say it's actually it's a proven effort that if you put the people in place where they can work, live, and play, it's vast improvement for the community as a whole. And I do firmly believe that. So it also helps mitigate urban sprawl. So we've got this issue. We've got a growing county by 2025. I think everyone's probably heard this before. We have a 1.4% annual growth rate within the county. That equates to about 200,000 people in the community. Again, if you keep the urban centers where people work, live, and play, the urban sprawl gets diminished, and you'll have your resources out and about in the county. It's less pressure on those resources. So 100%, yes.
Thank you. It's
Time's
hard
up.
to be the gatekeeper of time, but someone's got to
Okay.
do it.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
and I'm the lucky duck tonight. But before we turn it over to Linda, since I had asked John what his position was on downtown revitalization, he said he's pro for the referendums. It sounds like you are as well, but I just wanted
Absolutely.
that
The referendum is key, right?
Okay.
The transfer development rights as well as the density, both initiatives, both
Right.
big deal. That's how we get our affordable housing.
Thank you so much for your comments. And last but certainly not least, Linda Moore. And so Linda, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
And we'd love to get your thoughts on what we asked the gentleman as well. Why you would like to get another term for 2 years? What are your 3 favorite key initiatives? And what are your thoughts on growth and downtown development?
All right. Well, when I first ran 2 years ago, it was basically for the Three Corners. I was on the steering committee of the Three Corners, and I just felt very committed to seeing the project through to its end and making sure it gets done the right way so that it can be enjoyed by everyone. And obviously, downtown is important to me. I have a business downtown. I think everybody knows that. And when I first moved downtown, there was like maybe a quarter of the businesses that are there now. It has really grown and changed a lot, and I'm very, very pleased with that. But there still needs to be more things done with downtown, and so I'm hanging in there, hoping to complete another term and get some things accomplished with downtown. I can't say that I only have 3 priorities. To me, there are 5, and that is the Three Corners, the downtown, the health of the lagoon, the wastewater treatment facility, and seeing the marina project through to its conclusion. So I look forward to paying attention to all of those things, especially making sure things get done correctly in the downtown, and hopefully choosing a developer for the Three Corners.
So Linda, is it fair to assume you also are pro to vote for the yes on the referendums as well for downtown?
Absolutely. I've actually been talking about the density problem downtown for years because there are multiple blighted properties in the downtown area. And I always hear people say, oh, why doesn't some developer buy that and tear it down and make it into some cute little building with apartments upstairs and businesses downstairs? And the reason that nobody does that is because you can't put enough units in it. Our density being at 17 units per acre now, and we're proposing it go to 36 units per acre. Well, if you look at Pocahontas Apartments, that I think everybody would agree stays in the character and beauty of downtown. It fits in with our downtown perfectly. It's a historical building. That's 70 units per acre, 70. So we're not trying to go crazy here with the density, but there's no way that developers will take these blighted properties, and there's empty lots downtown. People drive by them all the time. You don't even realize that they're there. These could be really great additions to downtown. I know my staff has a very difficult time finding places to live, places to rent, and nurses from the hospital, a lot of them come into downtown, and there's even retirees that have been asking me for years, when are we going to get some more housing downtown, because we're dying to live downtown so that we can just walk around and we don't have to drive anywhere. people worry about the traffic increasing. It's actually the opposite. The more people that live downtown, everyone will just walk around. There won't be a problem with traffic because people will be already there. We'll have foot traffic, which is the kind of traffic you want. So that's my opinion on that.
Well, I think you've summed it up beautifully well. So, and I hope you have a lot of foot traffic going to the Gilded Mermaid.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Linda, Aaron, John, and Brian. We're about to get to questions, so you in the audience start thinking of your questions now and raising your hand when we get to it. But first, I wanted to start with 4 questions that we received in advance. Starting with, when will the Three Corners developer be chosen, and how will we make certain this time that there are no repeat problems that derailed the process the last time around?
How are you going to do this, Jonathan?
Yeah, who's that question to?
That is to all of you. So, all of you feel free to chime in with, how you would answer this problem. How can we be sure that there's going to be no repeat problems that derail the process last time?
The two incumbents would be able to best answer that question. John, maybe start, and then Linda, because
Okay.
they are aware of
Okay.
the full.
All right. Well, I don't want to take it all in, Linda, but the most important thing's already happened. And that is we've gone through the RFP and painstakingly marked it up and took out all the issues, minimized all the issues that allowed what happened to happen. And going forward, the development team are going to have to produce real documents, not AI generated documents. They're going to have to produce real cost estimates. The documents are going to have to be reviewed by a construction consultant that's going to be hired by the city. And it's going to be like our financial advisor was in the last go round, and we'll maintain that financial advisor, and that they're going to be looking for constructability and also comparing the unit costs to the standard unit cost basis that for normal construction in this, Treasure Coast area. So those are the things going forward that are going to help. And I'll let Linda go through the rest of it.
I agree with John. I think that we have rewritten the RFP in stronger language, and I have to thank John Carroll for really, really contributing to that, a great deal. He went through it all and had so many corrections and so many changes. This is obviously his area and not my area of expertise quite as much. But I think that we could anticipate selecting a new developer by, what do you think, John? April-ish? Isn't that where we're at with the timeline?
The schedule is the selection committee is going to meet in March and make their recommendation in April. It's not going to come to city council till May.
Okay, all right.
And
Well,
then the approval is going to be in June, I think, is the tentative.
so we're getting
We're not
there.
getting the RFP done. They're not responding till mid-December, December 15th, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
go on.
Okay, thank you, Linda and John. We have a few people raising hands already. I'd like to start with Michael Fortunato. So if you could please unmute yourself and feel free to ask a question.
Hi, Jonathan. Excuse me. Clear my throat. It's Bethany Fortunato. So the question is on the developers that are going to be coming in once we get that density increased. How do we guarantee that they're going to do affordable housing?
I can answer that if you'd like.
Great,
Okay,
go for it.
All right. The referendum, passing the referendum is the first step in a long process that is going to require community involvement. We're going to have to work have multiple meetings, special call meetings to go over and develop the process whereby the developers are going to be able to ask for and receive the, a portion of the 1,800 new units set aside for the workforce housing. So that is going to probably, that process, I mean, assuming the referendum passes in November, I don't think that process, based on talks with Jason, I don't think that process is probably going to start until February of next year. But we'll have a special call meeting. We'll go through the basic process. We're going to have to develop, ordinances that address all of those issues, what the developer is going to have to provide, and what the makeup of the percentages are. I mean, obviously, it may not require all workforce housing. There may be percentages. All those details have to be worked out.
Yes, I agree with what John said. And also, we're going to keep our finger on the pulse. It's not going to be some willy-nilly process. These are going to be vetted by council and by staff, and environment, architectural standards will have to be met. You can't just build whatever you want downtown. We have a character that we want to protect. We have a brand. And we want to protect that brand and just make downtown a better place. And we have to keep control over that. No more giant storage units on, I had to.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I see
If I
that,
can jump in for a second.
absolutely.
The last thing that we need is government controlling the housing. Let the market control the housing. Affordable housing is taxpayer-supported housing. We need affordable housing. We don't need taxpayer-supported housing. We need living wage jobs.
Thank you, Brian. And now we are going to move on to Rudolph Miller. If you could please unmute yourself.
You hear me okay?
Yeah. You're loud and clear.
Okay. First, thanks for your service. I know you guys don't do it for the pay, and you have to have thick skin. I've been in these jobs before. But I have two questions. I'll ask one, and if you have time, I'll come back for a second one. I have one about the water and sewage treatment plant and one about Four Corners. I'll go with water and sewer first. I haven't heard the words fiscal responsibility, and that bothers me. We're a small city, 17,000 people, if I remember correctly, approximately 8,000 households. We had a forum like this 2 years ago where both Linda and John and Honey Manous were here. I don't know if you remember, there was a fourth woman. And I asked about the water treatment plant, which in 2020, the city council heard it would cost $58 million to build new, or $84 million to go with the county. And so the city council said, oh, we're going to build new and save money. And then on the call in 2022, somebody from the Utility Commission told me I didn't know what I was talking about, and it would be built for $78 million in the chat. Now I hear we're at $138 million, and that all happened in the last 2 years. So I hate to be a bit tough, but this all happened in the last couple of years. So what are you two council members, what are you doing to assure this doesn't become some sort of albatross? We have a very small city, and this is a big number. This is, you divide it up, it's $17,000, per household. Are we finalized? Just give me some confidence in, wanting to put you back into office, that this is the end of this cost overruns. Thank you.
Well, we're still seeking grants, and we're still trying to defer the cost in any way possible. But also, a lot of things have happened in the last 2 years as far as cost of construction in general have gone. Everything has gone through the roof. And now with the state passing laws that everybody's got to be off septic, everybody has much more need for more wastewater treatment capacity. Hello?
You're good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And the county is going to need more wastewater capacity. It's very possible that they'll be interested in alleviating some of our capacity, like using some of our capacity, and we could possibly defer the cost that way as well. But it's not like this is an option. We have to do it. There's no other way. Our wastewater treatment plant would have been obsolete, and we would have to do it one way or another. So all we can do at this point is to do our very best to build a state-of-the-art facility that will qualify for lots of grants.
Right. And there's also the part of when you refurbish something, there's continual maintenance that's typically higher than a new facility. So the cost of maintaining or upgrading the existing facility, you look over your turnover investment over time, it could be just as costly or more than just building a new. And with the new plant, with the layouts more efficient, probably runs with less resources. Again, that's something I'd have to look into. The actual how to run the facility might take less people. So more than likely, you'll have a better return on investment with the new facility, and the fact that it's off the river, so the impacts of environmental impact is diminished.
I'm not disputing any of that, and it has to move, and it's part of, Three Corners. I'm just questioning the fact of the oversight as council members as to cost and cost overruns. And if it's a utilities commission, then maybe you need to be tougher on them. I don't know. I'm just very surprised because we were here 2 years ago and now we're here today. And I'm looking for confidence in terms of putting people back on the council as to what they're going to do.
Right.
And it hasn't moved
Second.
forward in 2 years either, has it? It's the same dead standstill, and it's been like that for more than 2 years. It's constant. They were talking about replacing the wastewater treatment plant 15 years ago. And if that's what needs to be done, then do it.
All right.
Thank you, Brian. Okay.
Can I
with
chime in
that,
there a second?
I'd
Go
like
ahead,
to
John.
get the next
All right.
question.
I'm sorry.
Number one, we're not comparing apples to apples. Originally, what they were pricing out was replacing a sewage treatment plant for a sewage treatment plant. We're building a water reclamation facility. It's a multifaceted facility now.
Right.
So we're actually we're going to be able to make money by selling reclaimed water to Indian River shores and other, golf courses and hopefully even residential and condominiums and things like that down the road. So we're not comparing apples to apples. So the original numbers, don't even matter. This council switched to a construction manager at risk process September of last year to try to move this project forward quicker. Unfortunately, we were going to save 6 months on that. But unfortunately, because of all of the backlog of the purchasing department, they didn't get the RFP on the street until December of last year, which we basically lost the 4 or 5 months, which really I was not happy about. But it is what it is. It's government and its finest affairs. But with a construction manager at risk, we're going to have a guaranteed maximum price at the end of the day. And the other thing that we did, because of the delay that we encountered, this council in January of this year went ahead and put out a purchase orders for all the electrical equipment that's going to be required for that plant, because the price increases are constant. And there's also a 2-year delay in delivery. So we're doing everything we can. Anything that Rob comes up with that can save us money, this council is acting on. And thank you, Linda, for moving forward with that.
Okay, thank you, John. With
Yeah.
that, let's move to our next question, which we received in
Yep.
advance.
Can I
How can
interject
we-
here to actually answer that question? Is it Randolph or Rudolph? That originated the question, right? So part of my job is looking at critical path and contingencies. It's exactly what I do. It's if we have a master plan, a master schedule, you look at the critical path, that can tell you what you need to drive first. If there's a problem in the purchasing department for something that's in critical path, that's what you focus on, and you can delay the procurement of other aspects of the project. So that's your critical path aspect of it. So that's how you manage a large program such as this, or large project. That's the kind of skill set I'd bring to this. I wouldn't run the thing for Rob. I could at least oversight and provide some help and support in that realm.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay.
Okay, now let's move to the next question. How can we ensure more tourist tax dollars for the city? What needs to be done to make Tallahassee help us with this?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
an age-old
You
question.
take that one.
There is no magical
That's a
money
long
tree in
time question.
Tallahassee.
I'll tell you what,
No
I mean,
magical
it's,
money tree in Washington. There's no magical money tree that government can pick to help us do anything without taking the money from us first.
we need some political willpower to
Right.
make it happen. The county, ever since I've lived here, which is 19 years now, has refused, and they actually have an ordinance against giving the city, any city in the county, the tax dollars from the bed tax. And that's wrong. We're generating over 50% of the tax dollars in this city, and we need to get a portion of it. Or if we don't get a portion of it, then we need to have the county start helping us with the cost of our lifeguards, which has cost us $1 million a year, and the county residents are using our beaches, and the upkeep of the beaches, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's a laundry list of things, but I don't want to take up all night, but that's one way.
And the county should send back to the municipalities some of the tax money that is collected in those municipalities. And we've been fighting this battle with the county for 15 years.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. We try and we don't make any progress. And, it would have to come from Tallahassee. Someone up there has got to have the will to change the way this is structured. Because, we ask, but,
Tell Bob Brackett,
right?
Yeah. Where's our
help us.
Where's our
Thank you,
lobbyist?
everybody.
Tell Laura Moss, do something, help us. And they won't. And
Thank
they
you.
don't.
Aaron, would you like to chime in?
On this thing? Yeah, it's like, where's our lobbyist? We're used to working with them up in DC, but yeah, this is where my learning curve comes in. Like, how do we handle our interfacing with the commission, county commissioners, and the Tallahassee? That's part of my learning curve.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, it looks like Rudolph would like to ask another question. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, you can call me Rudy.
Okay.
So this was my second question, but a little bit further. I sit there and go, why are we building three corners if we don't get any revenue? If we don't get part of the tourist revenue or the sales tax, why the hell are we doing it? Because most of the people there are not going to be city residents. So my question is, you really need to have a plan, and I'm sure some of you have a plan or some ideas as to how we get a share of that revenue, because aren't we fools to go do all this without having any of the revenue? And aren't there some tactics we can do to bring the county to the negotiating table? Because otherwise we might as well merge the city into the county, and then that's it. Because if we're not going to get the tax revenue, why are we building all these things? I'm sorry to be so blunt, but
we
the
get
downtown
the
plan
sales
is great
tax.
because we're going to get real estate tax. I have no idea what incentives they're gonna have to, at Three Corners, in terms of what revenue we are gonna get. If we're gonna get revenue to pay for everything, I read the city police commissioner, he said, well, if there's Three Corners, I'm gonna need more police people. Well, who's gonna pay for them? We shouldn't pay for them. Anyway, it's a slight rant, I'm sorry, but I really would like
It's a
some
correct
answers.
rant, Rudolph. You're right. You're absolutely correct. And we should get our fair share, and we don't. It's been going on for years.
Well, the
Thank-
bed tax certainly would involve the hotel and we wouldn't get taxes off of that. But we will get sales tax, our portion of sales tax. We'll get our portion of real estate taxes on the businesses, and a rising tide lifts all boats. Those people spending money at Three Corners will spend money downtown, and they'll spend money in retail shops, and they'll spend money, and all of that money is tax revenue that goes to the city. Or
Thank
some
you.
of it.
All
Plus,
right, so we have 5 more minutes left, and with that, could all candidates please share your position on downtown revitalization?
Didn't we already do that?
First.
Okay, yeah, we did already do that.
The
Yeah,
silence is deafening.
But yeah, I think we did, I think we did.
Oh,
So,
we do have one more question. We have a lot of utility and service maintenance needs as a city, and we're currently built out. How might adding density downtown contribute to that problem? Would the tax benefit for new residents help to alleviate those costs?
Of course it would. The more residents you have in the city, the more these costs get spread amongst everyone. It would, as I said, a rising tide lifts all boats. The more humans live downtown, we're not really we're not spreading out through the urban service territory. We're just spreading inward, and we have more residences, more businesses. All of those businesses are paying taxes. All of those businesses will use water and sewer and all of the services. So of course the cost will get spread out amongst more people, and it will make a lot more sense. It'll improve everybody's lives. It'll improve the businesses downtown that will have more money to spend in other businesses downtown and on beachside. When, when the servers do well, they go out to eat and drink in other restaurants, and then they spend money in there. And yes, it's going to benefit everybody.
I
Thank you.
don't buy into all of that. Taxpayer housing, the idea to put low-cost housing and small apartments in the downtown and a crowded downtown, they won't use a car, they won't, all of this stuff is delusional. That's all there is. It's delusional. And if a developer wants to increase the density in order to renovate a downtown, let them do it.
Okay,
But
well, Brian, you
trying
do
to
realize that it's in the charter,
what
right? You
developers
can't
want
just
to
let
spend
them
their
increase the
money on.
density. It's not legal. You can't just say, okay, developer Bob, we're just gonna let you go to 70 units per acre on this piece.
Developer Bob can come in and ask for whatever changes they need.
Oh my God, but we're
If
not
I-
allowed to give it to them because it's gotta go to referendum. Come on, you know this.
If I may
You're not
interject, that would
dumb.
have to go to referendum specifically on a specific site. And that would put an undue stress on developers. Development would never happen
Thank
in
you.
that,
Well,
in
you
that scenario.
complain that it doesn't happen now.
So the referendums are to increase the density to incentivize development. No one's saying that has to be affordable. That affordability needs to be figured out in council meetings afterwards and through the process of developing those regulations. That will come, but no one has said all of this housing is going to be affordable.
No,
It's saying this allows 1,800 new units, which are going to be, I assume, up to the market demand. There may be some incentives for affordable housing. That's got to be figured out. But you're not saying that those are affordable. The target of all of this is to allow our workforce that is running our community to be able to live here.
thank you, Heather.
Sorry, I interjected there.
Uh,
but-
would
I think you should run next time. When are you running?
I have not lived in the city long enough. I considered it.
Next time, next
Yeah.
year.
She's gonna want your job, Linda. I'm just kidding.
That's okay. She could have it.
Thank you all. Would Aaron or John like to chime in on that?
Sure, absolutely. So, Brian, you keep saying it's let the developers do what they want to do, but this
No,
enabler,
no, let them submit what they want to
Yeah.
do, and then let the council do
Yeah.
whatever in
So-
response to that submission.
yeah, and it's an enabler. And like Linda said, as well as Heather, you get more people, more residents, their tax dollar stays. They start using their electric, they get their electric bill like we do, water bill, trash bill. That all goes to the city coffers. So we get an
Oh,
increased base. All right.
The electric goes to FP&L.
We still get we still get some money off of that utility tax. So it's a positive. It's a positive on our income for the city.
The real estate tax that we get is a very small portion. Most of the real estate tax goes to the school board, then to the county. The city winds up with a very small portion of the real estate tax.
Yeah, it's still an increase to our base.
Well, we need to stop, as a government, we need to stop looking for new sources of money and figure out how to live on our income.
That's a tall order.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to say, if we don't do things to increase our tax base through growth with getting more people into the city that's built out through density, we'll have to increase taxes. It's just a natural curve. You'll start increasing taxes. You'll end up pushing people out of their homes. They'll get too expensive.
We need to have government stop dreaming up new things to do.
Or you shut down the city. Correct.
I don't want to shut the city down. But I've talked about what the city budget needs to include. A decent living wage for every city employee, enough to do the police, the fire, the lifeguards, take care of the parks and the roads, and stop all of these other silly nonsense things that they dream up. How many $1 million have we spent on dreaming up new ways to put new roads through downtown because people are scared? I've never been scared walking downtown. I've never had a parking problem to park someplace downtown, but we've spent millions of dollars to find solutions to problems that don't exist.
All right.
If I might
we're
interject
really
there
running short on
again.
time here. Could we, John, do you have anything to say? Could you just, chime in?
This has been entertaining as usual. I don't really have, I mean, people have heard me for 2 years. I think they know where I stand on everything. I've been an open book. And if anybody needs to reach out to me, you know my number.
Well, obviously you all have done a terrific job giving us some good input, but you know what, at the end of the day, like Brian and everyone had said earlier, we all thoroughly enjoy living in Vero Beach. There is something charming about it, and probably some progress probably couldn't hurt. I mean, it's been inching along at an incremental pace, and hopefully the end result will be accretive on the positive end. And hopefully we'll be able to be smart enough and use good judgment to work our way through it, right? If this referendum passes, and hopefully with the elected leadership of the prospective council members, we will have an hopefully an end result that most people can enjoy and agree on. So I wish all of you the best of luck as we approach the elections. And again, we thank you so much for your time tonight. And I would also like to thank everyone that was kind enough to join us. And I think it's nice. So many people gave an hour of their time tonight to listen to all of your viewpoints. I think we've learned a lot. And we'll see you hopefully again at a next Let's Talk Vero event. We've been very lucky. The theater has agreed to offer us their space during their season as well.
Yeah.
So
Wow, cool.
we look forward to keep trucking. And we're looking forward to the next, Let's Talk Vera right now is scheduled at the theater for October 28th. So, again, thank you all for your time, and we look forward to resuming the conversation.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Vero.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.